Hello everyone, today we're going to go over making some chili. So, what we're going to use today is we're going to use 2 pounds of ground beef. Something I want to say about these is that they're amazing. It'll last a full month, in your fridge. We got some black beans, some pinto beans, palmy strained tomatoes. I'm going to use salt, garlic powder, black pepper, chili powder. I don't have a whole lot of chili powder left, as you see here, so we're also going to use some Chipotle chili powder. So we also have an onion here that we're going to use, and a green pepper. Oh, and we're going to use sugar. Some sugar in there. I put sugar in my chili. Deal with it. So those are our ingredients. All right, so I have my heat right around 3 if you use a gas stove. When I put it in, I like to put some salt in there. Because we're using strained tomatoes and not pasta sauce, there's really no salt in any of this. There's some in the beans. Actually, I take that back. There's a decent amount in the beans. So there's sodium in the beans. 17%, 3.5 servings per container. So there's actually a decent amount of salt in the beans already. So we're not going to overdo it. But I do like the salt and pepper. My ground beef. I like to have a little bowl on the side, paper bowl. Kind of get all the stuff I'm not really going to use. All right, so now our onion's all diced. We're gonna go throw that into the ground beef and give it a stir. Kind of holding the camera here too, obviously, so I'm getting onions everywhere. Oh, this is a lot I can stir with one hand. I brown my beef first. Some people, when they're making chili, they might just, throw it all in, uncooked. And it'll be fine. It's chili. It's a slow cooker, all day kind of thing. If you're looking for the best way to slice a pepper, watch a different video. Alright, so that whole time our ground beef has been kind of cooking in there. I haven't stirred it yet. I'm going to throw in the green peppers. So for the beans, I don't just open them up and dump them in there. But got the beans, I'm going to open them up partially, not the whole way. And then attempt to rinse it out. So see, I stopped just before it's all the way open, but I left that little ridge there, so when I dump it over, it's not going to open all the way up. So pour out all that guck. And I feel like doing this kind of helps get rid of that canned flavor too. So I just do it a few times. We'll do it one more time here. Okay, so here's our ground beef still going. Put the kidney beans in. So notice how the lid's still on there. It's kind of, well, normally I have a free hand to do it, but I just do that, and they usually come right out. Notice how there's no gookiness on the beans at all. They're nice and rinsed, and none of that slime that was in the can went in my chili. Recycle that. Look at that dirty trash can. And same deal for this one, our pinto beans. So look at that. Now we're going to put in our strained tomatoes. I already went ahead and just cut the thing here. Hopefully make this easier for me. Again, you don't have to use this pommes. You can use spaghetti sauce if you want, or chop up your own tomatoes, or even use tomato paste is what I used to use with water. But I found that the tomato paste with water, it is literally the cheapest option, but it didn't taste as good to me. This I feel is a nice combination of flavor and ease, so I just use strained tomatoes. Like I said, I am a little low on what I normally use for chili powder. As you can see, it's just basically the lid. So I'm just going to dump in what I have there. How much chili powder to use? All of it. I am also going to be careful with this stuff. I have some extra Chipotle chili powder. You're going to ask me how much I'm putting in here. I have no idea. That many shakes. Also going to add a little bit of garlic powder. I'm not going to go overboard. Just a tiny bit here. Again, I feel garlic powder gives it some depth. But I go light. So what I do is I go light on these flavors at first. So when a couple hours or so, once things start to meld together, I'll have a better sense of where I am with things, and I'll start, tweaking it more there. And finally, which, some of you might scoff at, but you know what? If you don't, it's really good. I feel it's really good. It makes my chili blah blam. Is I add some sugar. So these are little quarter teaspoon marks. How much do I add? I don't know. I add a lot. So I would probably say let's start off with 1 of 4 of these per pound. So 1/4 teaspoon. So that was 2, 3, 4. So that was 1 teaspoon. That was 2 teaspoons of sugar for 2 pounds of ground beef. Now we're going to add more here. So it's not, it's a little thing, right? So it's not like I'm adding a super insane crazy amount. So that's 3 teaspoons. We'll do 4 teaspoons. I can already smell that Chipotle chili powder. I know you can't. So that's really cool, really unique. This is definitely going to be a different chili than what I normally make, but so far it's already looking good. For a while, for actually a couple years when I was making chili, it always ended up just tasting really salty, and I could never figure out why. And it was because, I think, that I was adding salt in there, not realizing there was so much salt in the beans. And once the beans start to disintegrate and release that salt, it releases it into your chili. And I turned the heat way down. Look, I have it, it's kind of hard to see with the child safety thing on there, but it's on about 2. And if you see the flame, just for reference, how low that is. Because I have a Dutch oven here, I can get away with that. See, it's still bubbling. What I'm going to do here is do that, and then put the lid on it. And that is just going to seal all the moisture in now. So, all right, so that's it so far. That is all the steps. All in all, it took about 50 minutes to do all of that. So the prep of chili takes some time, but it's worth it. But it probably would have taken me a lot less time if I wasn't stopping and starting and trying to do this video stuff with it as well. So I would say maybe 30 minutes is what's normal. It's been about an hour here. I've mixed it a couple times since then. Usually come out every, 15, 20 minutes I'll come out. And you can see it's still bubbling. So even though that little flame, little tiny flame, still more than enough heat with the Dutch oven. These things are great. I'm just gonna mix this up, keep mixing it. An hour here every 20 minutes, and then at the 2-hour mark, I'm gonna taste it at that point. So things will kind of have melded together. I'll give it a taste and see where we're at. All right, so we are about 2 hours in here, 2:48. So, and again, I've been mixing it every 15, 20-ish minutes, give or take, to take a look, so I know what's going on in here. But we are going to give it a look and a taste test and see at this point if there's anything we need to adjust. All right. Oh, these things. I should show you these. All right, so I bought these little spoons here. Yes, I tasted a second ago. So I bought these little spoons. You can get these off Amazon. They're like $300 for $10 or something. But if you're a sanitary nerd like I am, these are awesome. I'm not worried about double dipping your chip or anything. Kind of just get a little bit on there. I'm going to cool it down because this is going to be nuclear hot here. So pardon me while I blow on this. But just give it a taste like that, and when you want to give another taste, you just grab a new one, so you're not double dipping your chips. All right, so the flavor of that was pretty good. I feel like it actually needs more sugar, and we'll give it a little bit more of this chili powder here. I'm going to add that should be good. So that was 2 more teaspoons. That looked like a lot here. These are only a 1/4 teaspoon thing. All right. So this thing's tiny. It's not very big. So even though it looked like I was dumping a lot in there, that was a small spoon. All right. So that was 2 teaspoons total of additional sugar. And this, we're just eyeballing this here. We're probably going to say maybe half a teaspoon. Maybe. In fact, not even. We're going to say that was probably a 1/4 teaspoon. We just want to give it a little more flavor. Just a little bit. And we're going to add a little more, tiny bit more garlic. And I don't think I'm going to add any more salt. I don't think it needs it. But it does look a little dry here because it's still got to cook another couple hours here. So, what do you think? Water or chicken broth? I'm going to pause this and think about it. Okay, after consulting the committee, we're making a executive decision here, and we're just going to go with some chicken broth. Well, it's a good thing we went with the chicken broth, huh? We had to add more than we thought. The water would have just watered it down. Watered it down with water. Oh, that's such a bad joke. Okay, we'll say that was another cup. So 2 cups total. So we want this heat up, let some of those flavors meld. Give it another taste here in about 30 minutes. So from here on out, about every time I mix it, I'm probably going to taste it too, because we're trying to get the flavor right. Now is the time to get your flavor correct. You don't want to add stuff at the very end because it's chili, and part of chili is all the flavors need to kind of get together. So we're going to let that happen. We're going to keep tweaking now, basically, from here on out. All right, so we're about, 3.5 hours from when we started, and I would say this chili is just about done. It did calm down a little bit since I put the chicken broth in there. And so I'll turn up a tad, just kind of finish it off a little bit. I did taste it another time and added probably a half teaspoon or less of more Chipotle chili powder and about 3 teaspoons of sugar. Like, for whatever reason, it just is not tasting where I want to, sweetness-wise. Do want a little bit of sweetness to it. It's a good thing talking before about how I didn't add any salt really other than initially, because when I added the chicken broth, there's already a lot of salt in here too. As you can see, 37%. I probably added like half of this, maybe a little less than half, but we'll just say about half. So, you know, when we did that, we put in a decent amount of salt in there also. And when I taste it, it does indeed taste, you know, salty. Like, there's adequate salt in there. So just something to think about, that when you're making your chili and you're putting the beans in, if you put beans in, I know some of you don't do that. That be careful with your salt. You don't want it to be too salty, because it's very hard to undo that. And I was mistaking saltiness for spiciness before. That's why I kept doing it for so long. So just something to think about. Don't want to ramble on too much about that. Probably gonna call it after I turn it off here. I think this is good. I think you saw everything you need to see about how to basically make chili. Most importantly, how to make chili with what you had. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.